The International Mother Language Day is celebrated every 21st of February with the aim of promoting linguistic diversity and multilingual education. And this evening we're joined by SABC News' Shi-Tsonga presenter Musa Mabunda to share his views on the importance of mother tongue language. Good evening, Musa. Thank you very much for joining us. Full view.
Good evening.
No, it's a pleasure to have you with us. You know, when one thinks of mother tongue language, you think of it being deeply intertwined with one's self-identity, which allows you to connect with your culture and heritage. Just share with us your views on the importance of mother tongue language.
Exactly. Thanks, Mfundo. Just like you just said now. So the mother tongue is part of the heritage. And then speaking mother tongue is the preservation of the language itself. So if you can check, I'm speaking Shi-Tsonga today, proudly so. My forefathers have spoken the language. So even today, we still speak the language. My kids at home, my children at home, speak the language. So it carries on. So it's a part of heritage.
And you speak it in its most purest form, in an era where we've seen language evolve, be it English, Siswati, all sorts. We're talking from grammar. There are changes in semantics, there are changes in phonetics. So all of this, we've seen that evolution, and now we have the new dynamic of social media that has added its own element, which has somehow watered down languages or compromised and moved them away from their purest form. Just talk to us about this phenomena of the evolution of language.
Yeah, it's interesting because talking about social media, that platform has given young people a platform to talk their languages. We see a lot of videos and TikToks and Shi-Tsongas and Zulus and Ndebele and every other languages. Even in Africa, we can see videos coming in Swahili and stuff like that. So it's very important. So that's the evolution of the language. But as a traditional media, we stick to the formal usage of the language. Yeah. So when you can check on social media, there are a lot of slangs there. So the language, like you said, has been diluted. So our role as the speakers of the language at a professional level, like myself, as an anchor for Shi-Tsonga News, we stick to the traditional uses of the language. I mean, if I can give an example, a year or so ago, I was in Limpopo at my home province there. A gentleman came to me, he said he was a teacher at the high school, the local high school there. He said, actually, your work on television or as a SABC on radio is a point of reference. He says he teaches Shi-Tsonga at high school, and he says sometimes he will encourage his pupils to go and watch the news, how the proper usage of the language, not only the proficiency, but also the proper written language that we use there, because we don't only broadcast only in speaking reading the news. There's a ticker or part of the news that is crawling at the bottom of the screen there. So we need to write it properly, the proper written language, so that the kids at home or pupils can learn from us.
Because sometimes they defend it and say, oh no, we have local dialect here, so what you would hear perhaps on television, which is the language in its purest form, would be outdated for them. But you're saying it's still important for them to learn the language in its purest form. But I want you to educate us on something here. When we have this prefix of XI before the Tsonga, you know, we'd be growing up and ignorantly you'd say my Tsonga friend. Someone would say that you're Englishifying it. It should be Shi-Tsonga. Just talk us through the significance of that prefix at the beginning of Tsonga.
Okay, so when we talk about Shi-Tsonga, we are talking about the language itself. So if you want to say a friend of yours who's Tsonga, like you said in English, so you can say my Shi-Tsonga speaking friend. But when if you want to say it's the Shi-Tsonga language, so when you want to refer as to an individual who's a friend, you cannot say, it's my Shi-Tsonga friend. No. If you want to say Shi-Tsonga, must be Shi-Tsonga speaking friend. But then simply you can say, my Mutsonga friend. So it refers to an individual. Then you say, oh, I remember I got a friend who are Batsonga. So Mu, plural, I mean singular, and Wa is
Batsonga would then be plural. So I suppose it's the same as with people that would say Swatis or Swazis, and then we say no, I'm a Swat.
Because of English.
And they'll be Englishifying it. But then there's also the element of parents nowadays feeling as though English, given that it's a medium of instruction in school, that children when they come home, perhaps it's beneficial for them to continue to speak the language to be more proficient. What would be your message to those parents where you'd find that in the household they encourage children to continue to speak that which is the medium of instruction in school?
Over and about it being a source, I mean, a representation of one's identity, so it's imperative that kids or parents should teach their children the mother tongue. For instance, look at me. I mean, English is there as a business language of English and is referred to like that. But as someone like myself, I work with my mother language at the professional level.
Yeah.
So my job revolves around the language. It's a news business, of course, but it revolves around the language. So I speak the language at home. I speak the language even at the professional level, where we broadcast in Shi-Tsonga, 100% Shi-Tsonga. So it's very important. So you can, that's the job there. We can see even in Parliament, there are interpreters across all languages.
Yeah.
Because the Constitution of South Africa recognizes all 11 languages that are spoken here in South Africa as official languages. So it's very important that some kids might not be interested in going the English route, some will be interested in going the Shi-Tsonga route. And then parents should encourage their kids to speak the language. They
and Shi-Tsonga is such a beautiful language, eh?
Today we celebrate mother tongue.